How come nobody's talking about Kerr?
I guess
is he going to get? Is he? Where are we with Steve Kerr? Where are we with Steve Kerr?
Well, I'll tell you where I'm at before you go.
Right.
I was 120% sure that he was going nowhere because he told our own Willard and Dibbs that he had a lot left in the tank. But who joined us yesterday? The great Larry Beal.
Take a listen.
All right.
I know Steve has some other aspirations that I cannot reveal, but that go beyond coaching. Just he and I have been friends for a while, long before he was coaching the Dubs. But I still see him being the coach during the remaining Curry days, or years, whatever that is. I think it would be hard to change. Too much change is not good.
Now here's Rick Bucher, FS1 analyst.
Based on what I had been hearing over the last year, I would not have been surprised if Steve and Bob were bowing out together, because I think that the grind of what they've had over the last 5, 6, 7 years has been, I don't think people appreciate what that's been like. I know this is probably going to blow up the internet. Like, I would not be surprised if this was Steve Kerr's last year with the Warriors, as much by his choice as the Warriors.
See, I don't think that's a hot take.
But I mean, man.
Why?
Because now we're making the connection with the departure of Bob Myers. Like, they were so two peas in a pod that I could now see Steiny's leaving the show. You know what? I'm done when my contract is up. Like the domino effect that I thought kind of didn't exist, because I thought Draymond might make a decision with Myers. But now I'm wondering if their bond is that strong. And when I say bond, Steiny, just like, you know what, it's different now. I've been here. We've conquered it. We've had a lot of winning, 6 final appearances, hopefully 7. It's almost like Bob. Why didn't Bob have his contract?
Because he knew.
So
he was sick of Joe.
How do we apply that to Steve?
Well, Steve probably doesn't. Steve absolutely, positively doesn't have to deal with Joe Lacob as much as Bob Myers did. That's not even close. But what I'm thinking is, why do I not think that's a hot take? Well, first of all, this thing's getting, what's it called? Long in the tooth. So there could be a lot of stuff happen in the next couple of years. But here's why I don't think it's a hot take. Because to me, there were two guys in this organization who I was thinking they're leaving long before they ever left.
Oh, I got my pen.
One was Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's last year here, it was November, December, and I'm like, the league doesn't think he's coming back to the Warriors.
All right.
Okay, he didn't. Ditto with Bob Myers the minute we found out that he was on the last year of his deal. I mean, and that's the part about Joe Lacob where if I ever got him alone, I would ask him, how did you not think it was possible Bob was leaving when he didn't have a contract? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that was a wow.
So Bob leaves. So I could absolutely see a scenario in which Steve's done after the next year. That wouldn't. I don't know. Do you think it's a hot take, Warrior fans? 888-957-9570. Is it as simple as long as the big three's here, Kerr's got to be here?
I think that's a lot. That's how I feel.
Right.
And I've taken Steve for granted. And I've got to tell you guys something. You always brought up the fact that Kevin Durant said, I'm not going to share with you where I'm going, or just tell the media, don't ask me. It was a cloud that followed over the Warriors. Why was it a cloud that season? Because people wanted him to stay. He was that good. I believe that same thing didn't happen with Draymond Green this season, Steiny, because the punch superseded that. I think that naturally would have been a distraction. So if I'm running a business or a corporation and I want to signal to everybody that things are good, I don't want my head coach on a one and done. A guy of Steve Kerr's caliber. So to me, you do it because you want him coaching your team. But if everything's good, you get this, he shouldn't be on a one and done unless he's doing what Bob is. You know what? What Larry shared with us, he has that was lightweight breaking news, some other aspirations.
No, that's the
what do you call it?
That's the definition of the opposite of breaking news.
Well,
I know something, but I'm not telling you.
Well, right. But you know
We
what he
love
was
Larry.
saying. There was something
Aloha.
else heavy in Steve's life. I don't want to say equivalent
No,
to coaching.
I wouldn't take that one step further.
Okay.
I have no idea what he meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think he meant like Steve Kerr is really into writing haikus?
I thought
and
politics.
that's why he's
I'm going to be
gonna
honest.
done
I
with
take it as
basketball?
politics because Steve is always
fair.
very boisterous, Evan, with politics. I don't know, but it was something that Larry felt like was an option. I don't know.
Here.
He's also the head coach for USA Basketball. Although
no.
Larry did say things beyond coaching. I'm assuming USA applies to that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm at the point now where I don't know that a lot would surprise me with the Warriors right now because and the reason I say this because to me their decisions are difficult over the next couple years. And by the way, we should get that windy sound because that also applies
Windhorse.
to what we're talking about in a way. So the question is does Steve Kerr get a contract extension this summer?
And does he want one?
I think, well,
Because Bob, remember, I
I'm
was
gonna-
like, does Joe want to pay Bob? And it wasn't that when they had the presser.
listen, there also could be here's the other thing. You can't, if Joe Lacob acknowledged that he made a couple offers to Bob Myers, well, clearly one offer was better than the other. So the first offer wasn't a great offer,
All right.
as Bob thinks, and the second offer was better, but he still didn't like it. Okay, well, if I'm Steve Kerr, and I cannot
You want
believe,
Monty Williams money?
Yeah, you have to get.
I'm not
this
saying
is where you
No,
drive me crazy.
I had.
This is the way Steve Kerr's a nice guy. Yeah, we're all nice guys.
And I was about to.
The minute Monty Williams signed that deal on the dotted line, I don't know who Steve Kerr's agent is,
Right.
but you're damn right.
I'm getting $1
I
more.
want a 3-year extension for $45 million, which is more than Monty Williams. And you know what? That's the kind of thing where if I'm Joe Lacob, I'm like, why do I have to do that? Because Detroit did that.
But it's the price of doing business.
Stop. Anybody out there who's thinking, Steve will just take a hometown discount.
See, that's where you think I'm at.
Oh, it doesn't matter what Monty Williams is.
No,
my
gosh.
gosh.
I got you. So with that, because Kerr deserves that for sure. That's easy. Would you say that I'm off my rocker if I tell you if they go into this season with Kerr lame duck, that could be a distraction? Or are you going to tell me we just did it with Draymond? Don't count because it got hijacked by the punch. And that was the story in the cloud that followed the Warriors. I just don't think it's good for business unless Steve does not know what he wants to do with his future. He told Willard and Dibbs, and I know I'm just taking him at his word, he told him he had a lot left and he wanted to finish this thing out. And why would he say on Dre's podcast, or whoever he told, Steiny, there's no way we can win a chip without Dre?
He did Draymond a solid. Kerr's getting the bag, Damon Chang says.
Okay, I got to say this.
He might.
Yeah.
About
my rant. About my rant. I hope you understand the gist of my rant was I'm a little irritated that the stuff is leaking out from the Warriors that we heard from our guy Dumas and everybody else about what Jordan Poole didn't do. I'm Steiny, point blank range. You could tell me it's okay. I'll survive.
Right.
Do you think my passion and wanting to know about what was tried to alleviate and bring those two guys together, and because I called you nosy earlier this week, and you ain't let me forget. Am I being nosy, or is there some merit to me wanting to read about what was done to try to repair from everybody, from the GM that had the relationship with Dre, for everybody, Curry, Clay?
I think you're being naive in thinking that maybe nothing's been done. I mean, I think it's something that consumed their season. I think it's something that was revisited dozens and dozens of times because I guarantee you those around Jordan Poole knew something's up. He's just not.
Yeah.
Everything's changed now.
Even
Everything's
his game.
changed. Hey, you think Andrew Wiggins didn't have conversations with Jordan Poole? I got to beg to differ. I think we ran into two. Hey, Jordan Poole said to Draymond Green, I don't,
we're done.
You're done. And that's why, and that's where, are there unforgivable things in your life? Here's what bothers me. Draymond punches Poole. It gets out. Before anything goes any further, my feeling is always will Jordan Poole be able to forgive Draymond Green? Because we must assume that some people would never forgive Draymond Green for that, right?
Yeah.
Some people might be able to, some people wouldn't. Jordan Poole
Eddie Johnson
was not capable of forgiving Draymond Green. That doesn't make it Jordan's fault then, because Jordan wasn't willing to meet Draymond halfway after he got slugged.
Right.
It feels like people are now saying, "Oh, well, Jordan got punched,
he deserved
and
it."
then he didn't want to immerse himself in the team." Well, no kidding.